This episode pitch for Black Mirror, titled Fertiligen, Forming Families, will introduce a logline, give a summary of the plot, provide the real-life concepts on which the episode is based, and explain how the episode ties into the world of Black Mirror. When Sarah, a woman with epilepsy, wrongly assumes that she will be dismissed from egg donation when she is drafted by a government-run eugenics program to have her fertility tested in a society in which most people have become infertile, she must come to terms with the idea of having a child when no one around her supports something she cannot control. After losing her best friend and husband because of her own cognitive dissonance about having a child and the unnatural nature of the whole process, she finally embraces her role as a mother, only to realize when the nurses refuse to let her hold her own baby for fear that Sarah will have a seizure, that she can never give her daughter the life she deserves, and Sarah surrenders her baby to a state-run child care program, which will indoctrinate the child to adhere to rigid societal standards. In a world in which the human population is rapidly declining due to increased infertility, the government has developed a draft-like program in which people are summoned to have their fertility evaluated. If a person is fertile, they are required to donate their reproductive material to produce children. Sarah, an epileptic artist with friends and a husband, assumes when she gets her summons that she will not be a viable candidate. Her healthy husband and best friend were already rejected, and she believed her health made her an unsuitable candidate. She is evaluated by Fertiligen, a fertility and eugenics facility, and found to be fertile. The company explains that she will not be able to naturally carry the child because of her condition, but that the baby can be grown in an artificial womb on site. The donor will not be Sarah's husband, but her egg will be matched with another donor to promote the viability of the embryo. They also show Sarah how they will alter the child's genetics to be healthier than she is, and they explain that if she chooses not to raise the child, that they will be raised in a loving, child-rearing facility which fosters intellectual and emotional growth. They assure her that if she chooses this option, the child will be raised in a loving environment by thoroughly vetted and trained staff. Sarah tries to make sense of her situation, but her best friend and husband are uncomfortable with the whole situation. Sarah's reckoning with and acceptance of her new baby alienates them both because they feel like the whole process is unnatural, and because Sarah is now too eager to be a mom when she had not expressed that before her test. Sarah's husband, feeling uncomfortable with her having a baby with another man, leaves her in the middle of the night. She and her best friend have a fight because the best friend sides with the husband, and Sarah accuses the friend of being jealous that she can't have a baby. The friend storms away, and the two never speak again. The stress and isolation makes Sarah have more frequent seizures, and she paints portraits of what she expects her life will be like with her child to mitigate her seizures through relaxation. Sarah frequently visits her child at Fertiligen and watches it grow. When she gets the call that her baby is about to be born, she rushes to the facility and watches the birth. The baby is born not breathing on her own, and Sarah has a stress-induced seizure as the nurses perform CPR on the child. She wakes to find one nurse holding her baby and one nurse tending to herself as she recuperates on the floor. The nurses congratulate Sarah on a beautiful baby girl, which she names after her former best friend. She asks to hold her baby, but the nurses refuse, explaining that they couldn't risk Sarah having a seizure and hurting the baby. Realizing that she could never give her daughter the life she needed because of her condition, she relinquishes her parental rights and gives her baby to Fertiligen to raise. The episode ends with her adult daughter watching a video will from her mother and being bequeathed all the paintings her mother produced based on the life they could have had together. The daughter rejects the art, stating that she didn't know this woman and hated Sarah for giving her away. The daughter, whose infertility had already been confirmed, states that she would have given anything to have a child, and her mother just abandoned her. The scene closes with the daughter walking away from the lawyer's office in which she heard the will, and cuts to black as the door clicks shut. The real world's population is declining, but not due to infertility. Many potential parents are unable to afford a child and choose not to put strain on their finances. Some couples are choosing instead to adopt pets, and others fear rearing a child in an increasingly volatile world. Some countries have begun offering incentives to young couples who might want to have children. A few years ago, Denmark offered free vacations to couples willing to conceive during their holidays, as well as 3 years of baby supplies to couples who conceived while on vacation. This policy isn't forced on families, but the government is still asking couples to have a baby to save a declining population. So the episode pitch is reality adjacent. A hot-button topic in American politics at the moment is women's rights to choose whether or not to carry a baby to term. In many states, women are not allowed to have abortions despite the context. Women who have health concerns that threaten the life of the mother or the baby are not allowed to terminate their pregnancies, nor are women whose children were conceived under traumatic circumstances. The government tells them what they can and cannot do with their reproductive systems. Eugenics is no new concept either. Years ago, people with mental and physical disabilities were involuntarily sterilized to prevent illness and disabilities from being passed on to future generations. There are several works of science fiction that cover gene manipulation, and some real labs have begun trying to manipulate embryos to weed out disability and chronic illness. This part of the pitch, too, has some basis in reality. So, the episode fits into the themes and world of Black Mirror quite well. Black Mirror likes to take a concept from reality and exaggerate it for the purpose of cautioning against leaning too far into the possibilities of technology without considering the ramifications of doing so. Because there are already instances of governments and private institutions controlling women's reproductive systems, it isn't that far-fetched to assume that technology could be used to take that control a step further. Black Mirror's Men Against Fire already touched on the purifying of the human race by eliminating disease and disability through genocide, so an episode about eugenics to achieve that same end could be part of an anthology of human purification. Black Mirror is all about humans abusing technology to the point of creating a tangible, reality-adjacent dystopia. Who's to say that the concept in this episode pitch isn't the future of our own?